Hello. My name is Finola, founder and creator of Kandlelicious. And I have started this YouTube channel to give you guys the inside scoop on how I make my vegan candles. Um, I'm going to start this off by saying this is a brand new YouTube channel for this candle company. I am not only going to be creating videos to show you how I make candles, but I'm also going to be talking to you guys. So I'm going to base my whole YouTube page in regards to Kandlelicious on a series called Candles and Conversation. So today's going to be the introductory, it's going to be an introduction video. So I'm going to be giving you guys a lot of information about Kandlelicious, why I started, what the mission is, what I want this candle company to become, and just to give you guys some info on how long it's been for me and, see where we go from there. The point of Candle and Conversation is to give other business owners, especially up and coming business owners, the opportunity to give not only myself but the world some information about their business and their brand. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So again, I create vegan candles. My business is called Kandlelicious. And the way that business came about, I was 15 years old living in Tupelo, Mississippi. Y'all, what's up? And I was one of 3 girls in a rap group. A lot of people don't know that about me, but yes, I used to be a rapper, and yes, I rap very fast. And maybe one day when I'm, feeling it, I will probably come out and give y'all a verse. Nonetheless, I was one of 3 members to be in the group. The name of the group was Kandlelicious, okay? And so the group consisted of myself, my sister Mickey Boo, and our really good friend Sky, whose rap name is Sexy Red. And she was the real Sexy Red, the first Sexy Red, okay? So I just want to let you guys know first that this is 100% soy wax that I'm putting into the wax melter here, okay? So I'm dumping that whole thing because this melter can hold up to 40 pounds of wax. So I'm going to put that in there, and we're going to take some time to let it heat up to my desired temperature that I like to let my wax heat up to, okay? And so with the rap group, we ended up getting really popular. We had an intro on the radio that would come on every night at 6 p.m. We were doing shows and we had collaborations. We had a really good time. I was in high school back then. But moving forward, I moved from Mississippi back to Illinois. And so of course the group, split. My sister eventually moved back as well. And so we did keep contact with each other for a very long time after that. But that's where I got the inspiration for Kandlelicious. So moving on to 2015, here I am, a young college student. I wasn't working, but I really loved how the natural girls looked. Their hair, the hairstyles, everything about natural girls appealed to me. So I decided that I was going to try the journey myself. I had been natural, but I, was wearing a lot of braids and weaves and things of that nature. And so because I went on that journey and, I just felt like starting fresh and starting new. Again, I was a college student. I didn't have a lot of money, but I loved burning candles when I cleaned my house. And that's how Kandlelicious started. I didn't have money to buy a candle, so I taught myself how to make candles, right? So Kandlelicious started, again, like I said, in 2015. Here we are, 2023, and this has been the most liberating journey for me. I've learned a lot of things, not only about candles and wax and fragrances, but I've also learned a lot about myself. I wanted to pick up a hobby that would teach me a lot of patience, and that's exactly what candles do for me. Now, moving on to the candle making process, I do have my Pyrex glass here that I am going to use for your purpose, in a sense where I want you to be able to see what the wax looks like when it's in this container, and then also the fragrance oil. So this is a pretty thick one. The wax is heating up right now, so as soon as it gets to my desired temperature, we're going to go ahead and get started. But outside of that, yeah, that's how Kandlelicious was born, and it's been great ever since. I actually launched the business in 2020, right in the midst of COVID, and it was an instant hit. I had orders, and I would come out with different fragrances and limited edition candles that I would only carry one of, and it was a race for everybody to grab that candle. It has been a very fun journey for me. And this is why I make this channel, because I want to share that fun with you guys. I want you to see the beginning to the end steps of how I make your candles, okay? So not only was I going through the natural hair journey, but I was also going through the journey of figuring out what I wanted for my product, how I wanted it to look, what I wanted to use for my product, and things of that nature. So the base of my candles are soy wax. It's not a mixture of soy, none of those things. It is 100% soy wax, meaning it's a plant-based product, okay? Secondly, my fragrance oils are all phthalate-free. Phthalates are chemicals that cause cancer, ADHD in children, and also reproductive issues in men. So I like to do a lot of research before adding any fragrance on the line, just because I care about you, and I care about myself, and I care about our health. Which also brings me to the point of where I am a dental hygienist, and that's my job every day, to help prevent things from getting worse. I prevent disease and things of that nature with my patients. So this isn't just a product that's made just because I wanted to make money. This is what I do on an everyday basis. So moving forward, I'm going to take our Pyrex glass here, and I am going to measure the hot wax into this container. It is now my desired temperature for my wax, so I'm going to go ahead and get this into this glass, okay? And so, yeah, that's pretty much how Kandlelicious started. And what I love most about this business is that there are other people who appreciate, you know, a healthy product. There are a lot of vegans in the world today, and so I'm absolutely positive that they will appreciate this product as well. So I'm just finishing the measurements for the candle. Today, I'm going to be making one of my limited edition candles. I'm going to be making one of the candles from my Kandlelicious Barbie collection. So this is what one candle looks like in wax. Okay, so that is done. In the meantime, I am very big about germs as well. So I always clean each of my glasses. I'll either wash them by hand, put them in the dishwasher, or use some alcohol to clean everything out. So here's my container here, and here's my lid for it, okay? So I use 91% alcohol, and I just pour a little bit in. And I always keep a paper towel for the alcohol around, and then I keep one around to make sure I dry it off. And I not only clean the containers before the wax is put into it, but afterwards, right while I'm packing the orders as well. So that has been cleaned off. We can dry it now. All right, And I do have my handy dandy thermometer here that also lets me know what temperature the wax is outside of the melting container. And so with candle making, once it's not being heated anymore, sometimes candles can set really fast depending on the temperature that you take it out of the container from. So that's that. But outside of that, I love helping people. I love giving quality. I love giving great advice. I love learning. That's the most important thing. I love to learn. And so starting Kandlelicious, I've learned so much. I've learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot of math. I learned a lot of science, because people think candles are just something you just throw in a container, and that's not necessarily true. There's a lot of science involved, a lot of math, and a lot of profession. So if you ever want to get into the candle making business, I would definitely suggest doing a lot of research. First, I did about 5 years of research. No, I did 5 years of research before I actually made my candle company accessible to people. I did a lot of research on wicks, which is super duper important, okay? This is what helps keep fire hazards down, all right? We'll go over in another series or another video on how to properly cut your wicks and things of that nature. So since we now have our container nice and clean, I don't put any glue into my candles either. Again, this is a vegan product. There are no additives here other than the wax, the wick, and the fragrance oil. So since I now have my clean glass and my wax that's cooling down, I personally like to dip my wick into the heated wax. I take my container and I center it as best as I can, and I just allow it to sit and cool. Once the wax on the wick cools, it adheres to the glass, and so that's just that. While that is setting, I do have my warning labels that I put on each and every candle, okay? I put it right at the bottom. It's just a warning to let you know that you want to make sure that you burn your candle within sight. You also only want to burn candles for 4 hours at a time. You don't want to burn these products, let alone any candles, unattended or longer than 4 hours, because the wicks, again, which are one of the major fire hazards here, you want to make sure, typically when you burn a candle, regular room size as well as one of the 3-wick candles, when you burn it, it should take about 4 hours for that wax to reach the rim of the container. So to decrease any fire hazards, you want to make sure that 4 hours is the max. You can either, I don't suggest blowing candles out. You can use a snuffer, but what have you. But this is what this label tells you. So I like to take it and I like to center it right at the bottom, okay? So now that we have that, I always check my temperature, okay? So once we do that, when this is starting to cool, I like to bend my wick a little bit so that it doesn't slouch over into one side, all right? Because I don't use any plastic on any of my candles, I use wooden skewer sticks to mix my fragrance oil and wax together. So that's fine. I can go ahead and just put this in there now, and then I'll just keep an eye on my temperature here. You can see that it's already starting to set. You may see that rim there. It's a white rim, and that's just a little bit of the wax cooling, okay? Because this is such a big machine, I like to keep it unplugged just in case I personally forget to turn it off at the knob here. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. Great. So this machine is off. I'll unplug it soon. And yeah, that's pretty much the beginning process of the candles. After this, it gets super easy and it's super fun. When I make candles, I like to listen to music. Sometimes I drink coffee. Sometimes I may have a little bit of wine, just depending on what time of the day it is. I specifically like to make my candles during the daytime. Nighttime, I get a little sleepy, so I like to, keep it as professional as I can for myself. I feel that it's professional when I work during the day. That's just me. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is take my scale and I'm just gonna lay it flat on the table here. Let's give this a quick stir. Check temperature to see where it is. Oh, we are moving and we are moving fast. Like, I haven't made a single candle in a long time. So this, like, usually when I make my candles, I make them in bigger batches. So I can probably make 4 in a container at a time. I've made 6, I've made 10, I've made 15, I've made 20, 30 at a time. So just making one, I'm realizing how fast this wax is starting to set. So again, I'm gonna mix so that everything is mixed in together, so I'm not getting an inaccurate temperature. Good, we are ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn my scale on. I'm going to tare it. Me personally, I like to work in grams. When I first started, it wasn't the easiest for me to work in pounds. A lot of people work in pounds, and when you're learning something, when you work in pounds, you're gonna waste a lot of product. So I had to teach myself how to work in grams. So here we are, adding the fragrance. There we go, that's perfect. And I like to stir, 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 stir. That smells really, really good. This smells really good. This candle is gonna be Material Girl. Again, coming from my Kandlelicious collection, which is inspired by Barbie. So I do like to mix my fragrance oil and my wax for a minimum of 2 minutes. And I can stir it like any kind of way. I can stir it fast. Me personally, I do like a stir that's not too fast nor not too slow. They do suggest you stir slowly, but we ain't got time for that. When you making 20, 30 candles, you ain't gonna be sitting around like doing this. We not gonna, no. So I do stir like medium. I stir all kinds of ways. I do zigzags, I do circles, all types of ways. So yeah, that smells really, really good. So while we're doing that, I always have my candle labels printed out before I make the candles. I don't like to put them on before pouring the wax into the container because I'm dealing with 100% soy, and soy is very sensitive. So I don't like when I place, because I'm a perfectionist, I don't like to place my label before, because in past experiences, sometimes the wax may look really funny, or I may not like that angle of the candle. I may want that to be the back of the candle. There may be a smoother side that I would like my label to be on, so I always do it late. But because we're doing this for video purposes today, I will go ahead and put it on now. Okay, and here we go. In future videos, I will probably do some vendor videos to kind of let people know exactly where I get my labels from and things of that nature, how I figure out what size I want my labels to be for my containers. So here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and clean off that surface again. I'm gonna grab my paper towel, a little alcohol, and I'm just gonna clean the outside where the label will be. I don't think this helps it adhere, but again, I do that because I like everything to be clean. In the midst of COVID happening, everybody was scared to, touch things that other people have touched. Even today, I like wear a glove to put gas in my car. Weird, right? So here's the label. Here's the container wiped off. I'm going to place it down and do it that way. So here we go. I'm going to go back to stirring because I want to make sure that everything is setting, but it's setting evenly. And then I will check the temperature again. We are getting there. This is going so fast. Oh my goodness. This is moving really, really fast. So as you can see, we are starting to get a little bit more of that white cloudy ring around the Pyrex glass. As you can see, there's more. And that's just because the wax is starting to cool, and you don't want the room to be cold, and you don't want the room to be super hot when you are making candles. You don't want it to be cool, especially working with soy wax. Soy, again, is super sensitive, and you know it's also temperature sensitive, so you don't want it to be too cool. If it is too cool in the room when your candle is setting, then you may like see holes and it'll be super uneven at the top. It's not going to be super smooth. You don't want it to be too hot in the room when you're making candles because, of course, this being temperature sensitive, you don't want it to take a longer time to set. So you don't want it to set too fast in the cold, and then you don't want it to set too slow in the heat either. So I'm going to stir one more time. I'm going to check the temperature again. We are ready to rock and roll. So here we go. I'm going to move the wick over one more time. And we are going to, let me move this over so you can see the label. Stir, stir, stir. And now we're going to slowly but surely pour. Because again, soy is very sensitive. You also do not want to pour too fast because then you'll cause holes as well. Kind of like a little sinkhole, you know? And you don't want that. So I like to make sure I'm getting as much wax into the containers as I can. I see some little discrepancies there. Perfect. All right. And I like to just sit a little stick or something, like a pen or something, to help the wick stay in the middle. I do have wick holders, but I didn't have it with me today. So once that candle sets, I do have a wick trimmer here. I just cut it, and I don't cut it anywhere. I make sure that I cut it like 1/4 of an inch from the wax. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this candle and conversation today. This again is like my first episode. I've never made a YouTube video before. I think this is going to be super fun. I would love to get some hosts, some co-hosts on this channel. So again, if you are an up-and-coming business owner or you would like to promote your business, I would love to bring you on live, like maybe a YouTube live, where you can talk to the people about your business, show your products, show your paintings, show your, you know, ideas, things of that nature, and just have dope conversations. Let's talk about what's going on in the world today. Let's talk about movies. Let's talk about things that are just wow right now. Let's talk about the weather and why things are happening here and happening there. I love to learn, so I would also love to talk to some people that can teach me some things. So again, this is my introduction video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you for the next episode.